to D&D Beyond. We are very, very excited to be here today because we have something brand new that we can't wait to dive into and see the surprising and colorful dimensions of. And to talk us through it, please welcome back D&D studio game designer Makenzie Armas.
Hello, hello!
And we are here to talk with Makenzie Armas about Misplaced Monsters, Volume 1, which launched today on D&D Beyond and features 6 truly incredible monsters, designed in a very special way by some incredible contributors. And if you pick this up, the proceeds from this supplement, from getting these monsters to drop in your game, are all going to go via Extra Life to the Seattle Children's Hospital and the Seattle Children's Autism Center. And while this supplement is available, you can grab all 6 of these monsters and add them to your game, and we want to know more about them. So let's pop it up right now, shall we? Misplaced Monsters Volume 1 features these incredible, beautiful, y'all, look at them.
Cute. Look at them.
They are babies!
In this, you're going to get Coral, Dandylion, Rain, Scrappers, Seth, and Sheldon. Makenzie,
yes.
How would you describe what happened first, medium, and last to get from a cool idea in a kid's brain to these monsters I can add into my D&D game?
So I came into the project after all the art had been done. So this is after not only the kids had drawn their pieces and included a little blip about like who these monsters are, what they liked, what they didn't like, what some of their powers were, where they lived, all those sorts of things. That was all done by the children. And then the lovely, lovely Emi Tanji took those illustrations and the descriptions and came back with these amazing D&D style renditions of the monsters that the kids designed. And that is where I came in, where I saw both the kids' drawings as well as their descriptions of the monsters alongside the wonderful art pieces done by through Emi and Emi's team and Emi's direction. And then from there, I went and designed all the stat blocks. I got to reading what the kids envisioned all these monsters wanted to do, and then figured out how to put that into actual D&D mechanics that function. Those mechanics were then subsequently balanced in the same system that we use to balance all of our monsters CR. And then it was verified by the lovely folks who are listed under stat block development, and then put into a beautiful graphic design and finalized and made all shiny and polished by our editors and graphic design team, and was eventually released out into the world.
And of course, our fantastic D&D Beyond content team brings it across the finish line and likes to add some special touches here and there. And all together, we get to share this magic with a ton more folks. We have a special message before we start deep diving on the monsters with Makenzie, that Emi Tanji, the art director who made such incredible contributions to this, shared a few words with us in advance of this stream about the process of working on this and what working with D&D's Extra Life collaborations has meant to her. Yeah. So these are a few words paraphrased from the great Emi Tanji. Dungeons & Dragons has been involved with the Extra Life charity since 2013 and has since then, with a combined effort of Magic the Gathering, raised over $1 million for Extra Life, possibly well over. This speaks volumes to the kindness and generosity of our communities, who are the true supporters and champions. I, Emi, love being part of a cause that allows for kids to be kids during some of the toughest times they've ever experienced. They've taken part in Extra Life since 2014 and can't express how much they appreciate the support we've received. What started as a voluntary 25-hour D&D gaming stream led by Greg Bilsland to bring awareness to Extra Life has grown to encompass amazing partnerships, incredible Extra Life-specific created content, support merchandise, and much more. So that does make me want to take a little closer look at some of these monsters and maybe find out if any of them were particularly challenging to bring across into Dungeons and Dragons. So let's take a closer look, shall we? Tell me more about Sheldon.
Oh, Sheldon. I love Sheldon. So Sheldon, the blueberry dragon. He is a dragon who lives in space. He can control wind. He loves blueberries. And he is just an absolute joy. The fun thing about when we got Sheldon's description, the one of the things that stuck out to me was the fact that Sheldon lives in space, which in the D&D multiverse, space translates to wild space, the astral sea, and Spelljammer. So it was really fun getting to like kind of bridge the gap between like the kids pitch and the kids explanation of this dragon's fantastical abilities with what how we present space in the D&D multiverse. And that's why in Sheldon's stat block, Sheldon has psionics. Because the astral sea and wild space are home to many, many creatures, many of whom have psionic power. So it felt only appropriate to give Sheldon, the blueberry dragon, some wonderful psionic abilities of his own. My also favorite is that one of his attacks is a blueberry fling that does, in fact, blueberry damage. Because none of the other damage types felt quite right.
You are never resistant to blueberry damage.
You're
That's
never
the perfect
resistant
part.
to blueberry damage.
Nobody packed that today. No, I love that so much.
Yeah, it was like I think like originally like I had tried acid damage, but it just didn't feel right. And I think eventually we just settled on, you know what, screw it, it's blueberry damage.
Yes. I also love Sheldon can breathe normally in a vacuum. Just excellent.
Yes, I love his big old bag of blueberries. He just goes around the universe carrying that big old bag. Yeah,
Very
and it's
specifically
also just
space blueberries.
Space blueberries, yeah. And it was just so much fun to like take these little disparate little chunks that were in the description of he lives in space, he can control wind, he likes blueberries, and go, all right, into a cohesive creature you go.
We've got a question in chat from Jeff T. Root who asks, can you eat the blueberry damage or make a pie out of it? And I was thinking about this literally just like a minute ago. If Sheldon were to say fling blueberries at a friend, could the friend heal damage? Would that be like possibly a healing effect for someone that Sheldon wanted to help, not harm?
My question is how big are these blueberries, you know?
Well, they deal 2d6 damage, so it's like the size of a small boulder, the size of a large boulder.
Very healing then, or very damaging.
A small blueberry the size of a large
blueberry. Yeah, we didn't. So some of the other animals that we gotten, they had specific call outs of their healing abilities or their rejuvenation abilities. So we didn't put that in Sheldon. However, I can definitely see like Sheldon tossing his blueberries to heal his friends. I think that would be super cool.
I just have one more comment to say about Sheldon. In his description, he says that Sheldon uses the wind to knock down foes and propel himself farther than his wings can take him on his own. So I do like that his powers also help himself. Because if you see, his wings are a little small for his size. And so he's come up with some things that can help him, just get a little bit farther. And I really like that.
Yeah, and I will say that is something that was super cool to approach from a design standpoint because, and this goes into a little bit about our philosophy behind monster typing, which we have been honing and working on and really trying to nail down what makes a monster type sing, what makes that monster type identifiable as that monster type. And Sheldon the Blueberry Dragon is, of course, a dragon typed creature. And it was very interesting to approach it from the mindset of a designer and also going, so what makes a dragon stat block feel like a dragon stat block? Having the wings, having the fly, having the breath weapon. And so one of the things that was mentioned in the kid's description was that Sheldon the Blueberry Dragon can control the wind, which is how we ended up with his magical jet stream breath, which is his version on a breath weapon. It was also mentioned by the kid that the Sheldon has super speed, and so I sort of took that from the angle of, well, he can control wind. How is there a way that the super speed can also relate to his wind? That way there is this sort of cohesive design element that goes all the way through with his kind of abilities. And that is how he ended up being able to have those extra gusts of wind that he summons to give him an extra burst of speed as he sails through wild space.
I have one more thing to say about
Yes.
Sheldon because I literally just realized this. His bag says blueberries in Draconic.
Oh my gosh.
That's so cute.
Perfect.
His bag says blueberries in Draconic.
How did you notice that, Latia?
I just happened to, I was looking at it and I was like, I wonder what it says. And then I noticed very specifically the two longer characters towards the end of towards the end of the word. And I was like, those have to be ours. So I just kind of spelled it out for myself. And then I went to go look at a Draconic map and like a Draconic, language picture. And I was like, yeah, it is.
That's perfect.
So good.
I'm so happy. That's amazing.
I was gonna be like, Latia, you can just read Draconic.
I mean, yeah, I know. It is one of the languages that I took.
For the purposes of the stream, Latia just can read Draconic. So
I can read Draconic.
Fully fluent.
I cast comprehend languages before the stream started today.
Before we move on from Sheldon, I would love to know, if I'm a DM and I want to drop this beautiful blueberry creature into my game, do you have any advice for me on how I can run Sheldon as the best, most fun menace he can be?
Oh, man. So if you're going to drop Sheldon into your campaign, you got to be in space. He's got to be either coming in from space or you got to be on some kind of spacefaring adventure. I can certainly see him being like, kind of, you can either approach it as like, as you're sailing through space on your spell jammer or whatever, he can be kind of a one-off encounter, a little friendly encounter. You can be someone that you meet and he asks for help because he needs to, someone has like taken up his favorite place to harvest those space blueberries or something like that. Or he can just be a fun person to encounter. Alternatively, if you wanted to kind of use the stat block a little bit more in the traditional kind of combat-y sense, you could start out with like I almost think like a very space opera like episode where you go to like this asteroid and something has been plaguing its blueberry farms and you don't know why, but the adventurers are set to investigate and they maybe get into a little bit of combat before realizing, oh wait, no, this is just a sweet creature who just wants blueberries and likes to help people, and in fact maybe his wind controlling abilities are the solution to the asteroid's weather problem as it tries to increase production of blueberries or something like that, and then you could have something along those lines.
That's a full adventure right
there.
It is. I want to play it now.
New plan.
All right, scrap the rest of the stream. Everyone get out your dice.
I would love to make sure we can dive in on one more monster, and I believe, will you please tell me, because this was an immediate fave, a little bit about Coral?
Oh, Coral.
I'm going to read what we've got. Coral lives in the ocean and in the clouds. Cookies are her favorite snack. She has the power to bolster other creatures, and she can bestow upon animals the ability to speak for a short time. When she is upset, her rainbow tail lights up. If she smacks her tail on the ground, magical force spreads outward to engulf an enemy, potentially turning it to dust.
Yep.
When Coral has the hiccups, bubbles shoot from her horn. These bubbles transform into tasty cookies, bursts of glitter, and protective clouds of stinky gas.
That horn can do it all.
Right?
Yeah. That horn was so much fun and also such a challenge to design because this is one of the instances where kids' imaginations have no limits. Unfortunately, mechanical design for D&D does. And so the actual like brief I got from the kid from the wonderful monster inventor was that like her horn can create bubbles, and these bubbles can become a variety of different items like bonus points or a fart gun. And I'm like, I love this. I don't know how to do this. Give me like several seconds to think. And it was one of those really amusing and fun parts where I got to look at that and then looked at the stat block and realized that I had the unique challenge of turning a fart gun into a usable D&D mechanic. And I realized that this is my job.
It's a fantastic.
This is my life,
you did a great job.
Yeah.
So that's why the stink bomb is in the stat block.
So
Courtesy
let's
of
dive into that one. Bonus actions include Bubbles of Whimsy twice a day.
Yes.
The coral produces a stream of magical bubbles from her horn.
Yep.
These bubbles float toward a creature coral can see within 60 feet of herself. Roll a d6 to determine the bubble's effect. And Sarah, what happens on a 5 or 6?
A stink bomb shield. Where the bubbles transform into a foul-smelling cloud of gas that surrounds and shields the target. The target has half cover, very cool, until the gas disappears at the start of Coral's next turn. You wouldn't expect that to be a positive thing, but it is.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. It's like, oh God, this smells, but thank you.
What was the thought behind the choice to making it like, no, this is a buff to your party. Fart gun, good.
So part of it was because I wanted to do 3 things for the Bubbles of Whimsy. In part because I love roll of 3. It divides really evenly when you roll a d6, that sort of thing. One of the child's description presented with me with 4 options: bonus points, a glitter bomb, a cookie, or a fart gun. Bonus points are non-tangible things, so I combined kind of bonus points with the cookie, and that's how you get the bolstering treat, so you get a little bit of bonus there. Glitter bomb is as it says on the tin. A glitter bomb has that, and gives it that blinding effect. I didn't want to have 2 effects that would essentially equivalent like a condition, like both would just apply a negative condition to a creature, and the blinded condition is infinitely better than like the poison condition, or not infinitely better, but a good chunk better than the poison condition. It implies more advantage and disadvantage, and also prevents that creature who is blinded from using any of its abilities that require it to be able to sense and target something. So it felt, if I gave it a fart gun, or like a fart gun that kind of opted like a normal like stinking cloud or something like that, where it just has a poisoned effect, it would be less cool than the glitter bomb. So I wanted the fart gun to be able to stand on the same level as the glitter bomb and as the cookies. And this is a really weird sentence.
It's maybe the perfect sentence, in my opinion.
And so I love a good, no one has ever said these words in this order, and I feel we have one on our hands.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's how we eventually ended up with the stink bomb doing half cover, because we wanted something that can be, one of them is a bolstering, like a direct like boost. One is a offensive, a way to distract, and one is just a more utility option. So that's something that kind of applies to a lot of game design, especially when we have things that can have multiple options. We want to make sure that those options don't feel like the same thing, just reskinned. We want to make sure that they feel different and they have different tactical uses, which is such a fun thing to like think about when you're thinking about like tactical uses for these kinds of creatures. And it's so cool, and it's one of those things where I'm like, I can't believe that these wonderful whimsical creatures are verified by our math, our internal math. They hit at their level, their CR level, and it's just so much. They're just so cool to have such these whimsical, wonderful creatures that can hit like a truck.
Would love to keep it forever. We cannot look at go in depth on every single one in the time that we have today, but let's take a little peek at the Dandylion by Charles DD.
Yes. Dandylion was so much fun. The drawing we got from the monster inventor had so much character with it, and I loved its little tail with the little dandelion puff on it. It's so cute, and they had so much lore written about these creatures when I got the description. It was amazing. It was like one of those things where it was like I could have seen myself writing that as a kid, and when I was designing these monsters, it really hit me of like, man, as a kid I would have loved for someone to like take my creations and bring them to life, and now I get to do that for these kids, and it was just it was so cool. But yes, these lovely fluffy dandelions are amazing. They have the kind of tech that your normal big cat would have. But they also have the ability with their seed pod tails to rejuvenate. It's essentially like a lesser restoration kind of effect, which is super cool as they wave their tail around and release those clouds of seed pods. They also have some bit of spell casting, and as they are lions and lions do roar, they are able to react to when they're hit with an attack to magically roar and terrify whomever so dares hit them.
Real quick, first thoughts on our friend Scrapper.
So Scrapper was designed by Amber. It appeared, I think, in like Dragon magazine a while back, but I love me a good construct. So it was so much fun seeing the concept, and basically I just gave a little buff and shine, helped update it to our current standards. Nice. And made sure it just did a little bit of adjusting, fiddling around to make sure it hit CR. But it's just so cool. I love its electrified chassis ability. That is something I think is so smart, because anytime I think of like an electric monster that you're hitting with a metal sword, I'm like, that's gonna cause some problems. And now it can. Now it actually can cause problems.
Yes.
So for electrified chassis for a Scrapper, who is weighing it at a hefty 8 CR, a creature that hits the Scrapper with a melee attack while within 5 feet of it takes 19 or 3d12 lightning damage.
Also, I would be remiss to not mention that it has an eye beam, which is always super cool. We love eye lasers.
Love an eye beam.
We do.
So
we do.
Cool. I do have a special place in my heart for this one, because I as a person growing up loved like the animals, and then my siblings were like, we want a big robot, they beat people up. And so to see those like occupy the same space here is just so representative of children. You know, it's perfect.
Yeah.
I think actually closing out the bunch, because I was going to try to be good and not hit everyone, but we can't do 5, y'all. We can't just look at 5 of them. Seth the Shapeshifting Dragon is here, a vegetarian who likes to hide in the brush near waterfalls, rivers, and lakes. Invisible while immersed in water, Seth is capable of great bursts of speed, and his breath weapon is a blast of frigid water.
Yep.
Can we first of all actually just go back to the original illustration by Reese P?
Yes.
Can we talk about this dragon?
It's real good.
It's real good.
Real good. Like, get at us in a couple years, Reese P. You're gonna do something great.
Yeah.
I love it. Worm. Love it.
Yeah. My favorite kind of dragon actually are the eastern dragon. So I really, really like this.
Yeah. Seth was super fun. I loved like Seth the shape-shifting super speed dragon. And I cannot say it any faster. Please do not ask me to. But it was so much fun, like getting to play with the elements that were given in the description. When I get a monster, I try to break it down into a couple of like core narrative bits I want to hit, and so one of them was, a lot of them were really easily in the name. It was shape-shifting. All right, it's gonna have an ability to change shape. Super speed. So it's got to be able to move really quickly, move really fast. How can we make that unique? And also, how can we make it different from our other super speed dragon, who was Sheldon the Blueberry Dragon, who was also proposed with having super speed? And so for the lovely Seth, I went in the more the comic book direction of super speed, where it's just like high speed vibrations to the point where when he channels his super speed, he can phase through matter, which is super cool. Which also kind of fits with the other third narrative beat, Water Dragon. Of he can be invisible when he's immersed in water, and I wanted to really play up with that and combine that with its dragon nature to, create that iconic breath weapon sort of effect that also kind of fit into his suite of abilities.
I think Riptide Breath might be one of my favorite names in all of D&D now.
I'm real proud of that one. I'm sad that I may not ever be able to use it again, but it's such a good name and it makes me real happy.
It's amazing. I do love the concept of like, is it a dragon? It's gotta be fast. That's apparently with every child. They're like, dragon fast.
Dragon go noom.
Yes.
Yep. Dragon big, dragon fast.
Yep. And while this is available, you can pick it up and add these monsters to your game, and you should do that thing. But when you get it, you also will get this, which is maybe my favorite part of the entire project. Greetings, adventurer. Pages from our monster manual have been misplaced, and we need your help. Please help us by drawing a picture of the creature you've discovered and telling us all about it. And you can go ahead and download for your own use and creativity a little profile to make your own monsters with some great questions to guide you. And this makes me very, very happy. So I cannot wait for this to be out in the world. Would you have any tips for someone who might be wanting to run Coral or any of these other monsters that we might not have gotten into? Just one or two, like, make sure you notice this.
So these are all amazing, fun creatures. So don't take yourself too seriously when you're running them. They are meant to be fun. They are meant to be whimsical. They have stat blocks and abilities, but that does not mean that they have to be creatures that your party has to defeat. Their stat blocks and abilities are there merely to give you a framework for how to play and run these lovely, lovely creatures in combat, but it doesn't mean that you have to put them in combative situations. Seth's super speed can trigger when he's just kind of out and about. The bubbles of whimsy can occur both in and out of a combative situation. They can just sort of happen. These are all just outlines and guidelines and ideas for how to run these kinds of creatures and how to embody them as the DM. So have fun. Don't feel like you have to put them in dangerous situations, and embrace the silly and the whimsy, because that was my favorite part of designing these wonderful creatures. And I hope they bring everyone who encounters them as much joy as they did to me.
We are very grateful to all of the contributors who made this supplement possible. Special thanks to Emi Tanji for sending us that beautiful message and those insights to go with this one. And of course, Makenzie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me and letting me ramble my mouth off about these wonderful beasties and pull back the curtain behind the monster creation and design process over in the studio.
Where can people find you if they want some more of your insights?
So you can find me over on pretty much all the socials at Makenzie Lane DA. That is MakenziELaneda. I will talk about things I do both within and without the D&D studio, including upcoming projects, possibly being a Jedi and or Sith for charity, and other shenanigans that I may get up to out into the world as being a big heckin' nerd. So,
yep. Here? In this building? No.
I know. I'm sorry. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I am, in fact, one big heckin' nerd.
Oh no.
And we wouldn't have it any other way. So you should check out the Misplaced Monsters. Once again, make sure you're looking out for our changelog and community updates. The newest Unearthed Arcana is out. Please dive into it. When that survey opens, we're going to want to know everything you think about the nice, hefty chunk of material in this one for play testing. Keys from the Golden Vault is out, and there's a rad Prisoner 13 playthrough that you might want to check out. And of course, this week's Dragon Talk is going to have friend of the channel and general fave Todd Stashwick, aka also no spoilers for recent shows, but maybe a grumpy captain you might enjoy on a Star Trek. Some spoilers for recent shows, okay. And in addition to that, I'm Amy Dallin. You can find me everywhere at Enthusiamy. And Latia?
I was just going to do another dramatic pause.
I was giving you a look.
I saw you. You can find me everywhere at Latia Jaquise, because it's my name and there's only one of me.
And you can find me anywhere at Sarah is Coffee.
We're so glad you could join us. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time on D&D Beyond.